Hey everybody, how are you doing today? Thinking about parenting. Some days parenting feels like Eenie, Meenie, Miney, Mo. Which parenting style am I going to use today? Right? When I think about leadership and all the various situations I've had to use it in, I think my most challenging leadership role has been parenting. Parenting is the longest term position in which you thankfully have time to, but also must utilize all the different leadership styles. And it's not like we enter parenthood already knowing that we're going to have to jump between leadership styles, let alone knowing how to. Most leadership positions will utilize, 1 to 3 styles. They all have those moments where you have to step over here and coach people through a situation, or step over here and make those, authoritative decisions that just kind of help things move forward, right? But generally speaking, the role is what it is. But parenting is a different bear, isn't it? So how do you know which style will be the best form of leadership at the time? Well, how do you know which type of leadership is needed for a particular group or event? I think you need to answer 2, maybe 3 questions. 1, what is the purpose of the group you're leading? What is its vision, mission, statement? What are its goals? Okay. 2, why is there a leader for that group? Do they need you to set the pace? Do they need you to make decisions? Do they need you to just coach them through? There's a myriad of reasons it could be. Why is there a leader for that group? And sometimes you need to know number 3, which is, who are the people you are leading? Now, as a good leader, you're going to get to know the people you're working with. That's the best way to be effective in most any leadership situation. But sometimes you need to know who those people are before you know which leadership style to utilize. When my kids were young, they needed an authoritative, sometimes even bureaucratic leader. You tell them, this is what we're doing. No, you may not do that. Here's how we're going to go about doing things. I have spoken. It is the way. As your kids get older, they start to learn other options that they have. They start to learn how to make those decisions. They start to understand things better. They become a little wiser. Little bit at a time. And so your parenting style is going to change. You'll become a little bit more of a pace setter, and just kind of hanging back and watching them as they march their way forward on a little bit on their own, setting their own pace. You're kind of just there as a buffer. And now, my kids are in their mid to late teens, and they're going to be launching off to being their own adult within 2-3 years. And so, it's more of a coaching approach. It's quite democratic. It's my 14-year-old, even my 16-year-old, about to be 17, they'll come to me and they'll say, Mom, there's a situation. I don't quite know how to handle it. And I'll gather information from them. Well, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, have you thought about this? But ultimately, they make their own decisions. Every once in a while, they'll get stuck and just be like, I just don't know what to do. And I'll say, well, why don't you do this? Right? But even then, they'll think about it, they'll process, and they may come back to me and say, I see why you suggested that. I really think I need to do this. Great. That's exactly how it works, even for us adults, right? When you're parenting, the purpose of the group stays mostly the same. To teach your kids so that one day they become their own adult and can go function on their own. The why there is a leader will change as, in this case, the answer to the third question changes. Who are the people you're leading? Well, again, as your kids get older, they change. Their needs change, their abilities change, and therefore, why they have a leader changes. In many positions and organizations, the leadership role is a somewhat static thing. In parenting, I encourage you to not make it so. As a leader, one has to learn flexibility if you want to be good at your job. As a parent, your flexibility may need to become more of a contortionist kind of skill. Point being, how do you know which form of leadership will be the best style at the time? Know the purpose of your group, know why a leader is needed, and perhaps you may even need to know the people you're going to be leading before you make that decision. Thank you.